Hello and welcome, my dear students. Today we're going to take a grammar lesson. It's about the present continuous tense and the present simple tense and the differences between them. When do we use the present continuous and when do we use the present simple? So let's start with the present continuous. I am doing. Study this example situation. Sarah is in her car. She's on her way to work. She's driving to work. So now Sarah, she's in her car. She's on her way to work. She's driving to work right now. This means that she's driving now at the time of speaking. So when we have an action that is happening at the time of speaking, we definitely use the present continuous tense. This action is not finished. Something that has started a few minutes ago and is in progress. We make the present continuous tense with am or is or are plus verb plus ing. Like I am, this is the long form. The short form is I am, and the short form is I am. He, she, it is, he's, we, you, they, are, we're. I am driving, I'm working, I'm doing, etc. I'm doing something, it means that I'm in the middle of doing it. I've started doing it and haven't finished. So if you started doing something and you're still doing, you haven't finished it. We use the present continuous. For example, please don't so much noise. I'm trying to work, not I try. I'm trying to work because I'm trying to work at this moment. Where is Mark? He's having a shower, not he has a shower. This is present continuous because he's in the middle of doing this action. Another example, let's go out now. It isn't raining anymore. At a party, hi Jane, are you enjoying the party? Are you enjoying the party right now? What is it? What's all that noise? What's going on? What's going on right now? What's going on? Equals what is happening. What's happening? Sometimes the action is not happening at the time of speaking. So we can talk about something that is happening at the time of speaking, and sometimes we talk about action that happens around the time of speaking. For example, Steve is talking to a friend on the phone and he says, I'm reading a really good book at the moment. It's about a man who. So, Steve in this example is not reading the book at the time of speaking. He means that he has started but not finished yet. He's in the middle of reading it. Right now, he's talking to his friend, but he's telling him about an action that he has started and haven't finished yet. Kate wants to work in Italy, so she's learning Italian. She's learning Italian at this period of time. It's not happening at the time of speaking, it's happening around the time of speaking. Perhaps she's not learning Italian at the time of speaking. Some friends of mine are building their own house. They hope to finish it next summer. Are building, they're not building it right now. Are building means in this period of time. You can use the present continuous with, we have some key vocabulary like today and this week, this year. Today, this week, this year. Period around now. Like for example, you're working hard today. Not every day. It's not your everyday norm. Yes, I have a lot to do. The company I work for isn't doing so well this year. This year, it isn't doing so well. We use the present continuous when we talk about changes happening around now, especially with those verbs. Get, change, become, increase, rise, fall, grow, improve, begin, start. Like, for example, is your English getting better? Is your English changing? The population of the world is increasing very fast. When you talk about something is changing, we use the present continuous. At first, I didn't like my job, but I'm beginning to enjoy it now. We have some exercises. We're going to do them later. What about the present simple tense? Alex is a bus driver, but now he's in bed asleep. He's not driving the bus. So he isn't driving a bus now. He is asleep. But he drives a bus. This is a fact about him. This is a fact about him. He's a bus driver. He's a bus driver. Drive could end with S, drives, work, works, do, does, etc. It is the present simple. We use I, we, you, they with the infinitive form of the verb. Infinitive form of the verb. And we use he, she, it. We put s, es, or is to the verb. We use the present simple to talk about things in general. We're not talking about something is happening at the moment. We talk about things in general. We use it to say that something happens all the time or repeatedly. We talk about repeated actions. Present simple tense talks about repeated actions or things that true in general. Repeated actions or things that are true in general. For example, nurses look after patients in hospitals. I usually go away at weekends. The earth goes round the sun. The cafe opens at 7:30 in the morning. So, let's study those examples. Nurses look after patients in hospitals. This is a fact. This is something happens all the time. I usually go away at weekends. So, it's his habit to get out in his free time. The earth goes round the sun. This is a fact. Something that's not changing. The cafe opens at 7:30 in the morning. This happens every day. For example, remember that we use the verb infinitive with I, we, you, they. Like I work, but he works. They teach, but my sister teaches. If we have a verb ends with ch, we put es at the end of the verb. We use do or does to make questions. For example, do, does, do, I, we, you, they, do, I, we, you, they work. Do you work? Do they drive? Do they do? Does he or she or it work, drive, and do? With does, we take the verb in the infinitive form. In the negative form, we use don't or doesn't. I, we, you, they takes don't. He, she, it take doesn't. Like they don't work, drive, or do. He doesn't work. We have examples. I come from Canada. Where do you come from? Where do you come? I don't go away very often. What does this word? This word is a singular subject, so it takes does. What does this word mean? Not what means this word. No. What does this word mean? Rice doesn't grow in cold climates. In the following examples, do is also the main verb. We can use do as a main verb, like do homework or do an activity. What do you do? It asks about what's your job. What do you do when someone asks you this question? What do you do? He means that what is your job? I work in a shop. He's always so lazy. He's always so lazy. He doesn't do anything to help. Doesn't do. So if you have do as a main verb, you can negate it by adding don't or doesn't according to the subject. We use the present simple to say how often we do things. Like, for example, I get up at 8 o'clock every morning. How often asks about the repetition of the verb. Asks about the repetition of the verb. Do you go to the dentist? How often do you go to the dentist? I go to the dentist once a month or twice a month. Julie doesn't drink tea very often. Robert usually goes away 2 or 3 times a year. This is the repetition, 2 or 3 times a year. We have some keywords for the present simple like always, usually, often, sometimes, hardly ever, and never. With promises and apologies, we use present simple. Sometimes we do things by saying something. For example, when you promise to do something, you can say I promise. Not I'm promising, I promise. When you suggest something, you say I suggest, I promise, I advise, I agree, I refuse, I insist. Those I advise, those verbs come in the present simple. Let's take a comparison between the present simple and the present continuous. Present simple, present continuous. At the beginning, I'm doing. We use the continuous for things happening or around the time of speaking. Happening at the time of speaking or around time of speaking. The action is not complete. The action hasn't finished yet. Like now I'm doing. The water is boiling. Can you turn it off? So if you put some water in a kettle, you want to make some tea and you boil the water. So the water is boiling right now. Listen to those people. What language are they speaking? I'm asking about the language they're speaking at the time of speak, not generally. Let's make a comparison between both of them. Present simple, I do. Present continuous, I am doing. Present simple talks about things that is happening, things that are happening at the time of speaking or around the time of speaking. Present simple, we use the present simple for something in general or something is repeated. Here, the water is boiling. Now, water boils. This is a fact about water. So, water is boiling right now. This is general speech about water. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. What language are they speaking at the moment? Here, I'm asking you about what language do you speak generally? What language? So, if you heard one of the tourists speaking, you can ask one of your friends, what language is he speaking right now? Or you can say, what language does he speak? Uh, if you say that what language is he speaking right now, you want to know what is he saying right now. And the other question, it means that you ask about his language in general. Let's go out. It isn't raining now. This is now. And when we talk about facts, it doesn't rain very much in summer. This is a fact. It doesn't rain at all in Egypt. I am busy. What are you doing? What do you do usually at weekends? This question is about this period of time. And this question talks about what's your habits? What do you usually do on the weekends? I am getting hungry. I'm getting hungry right now. This is something changing. Let's go and eat. I'm always get hungry in the afternoon. This is a true fact about a person. Kate wants to work in Italy, so she is learning Italian at the moment. She's learning Italian at the moment. Most people learn to swim when they are children. The population of the world is increasing, is changing. Every day, the population of the world increases by about 200,000 people. This is a fact. We use the present continuous for temporary situations. Okay, what is the meaning of temporary? Something is not permanent. Something is changing. Like, for example, I'm living with some of my friends until I find a place of my own. So I will not live with him all the time. This is for this period of time, and I'm looking for another place of my residence. We use the simple for permanent situations. So we use the continuous for temporary situations, something that is changing. But on the other hand, we use the present simple for permanent situations, something that happens all the time. My parents live in London. They have lived there all their lives. Joe isn't lazy. You are working hard today. I'm talking about today. Yes, I have a lot to do. But if we talk about a person in general, someone is not lazy, like Joe isn't lazy. He works hard most of the time. This is a true fact about him. He is a hard worker. But this is a difference in the meaning of that sentence. You're working hard today. It means that you're working harder than you're working every day. What is the difference? This is so important. What is the difference between I always do and I'm always doing? I always do something, I do it every time. Like, for example, I always go to work by car. Every day I go to work by car. I'm always doing something has a different meaning. I've lost my phone again. I'm always losing things. When you use always with the present continuous, you talk about problems. I'm always losing things. I lose things very often, too often, or more often than normal. So something is repeated in an annoying way. So it's used when you are annoyed about something frustrating. Like, for example, he's always getting bad marks. More examples. You are always playing computer games. This is something bad. You should do something more active. Your computer games too often. Tim is never satisfied. He's always complaining. He complains too much. So, when you use always with the present continuous, you have a problem about this verb. This verb is repeated more than usual. And thanks for this lesson. Till we meet again in another grammar lesson. I was happy to present this lesson. Thanks and bye bye.